steal our hope, to blind our eyes. He whispers fear, he wields the sword, but he cannot silence the living word. Every drop of blood becomes a seed, every broken heart cries out a creed. The gates of hell will not prevail, God's truth will stand, it will never fail. From martyrs to saints, their crowns are won, their witness shines like the rising sun. The enemy strikes, but heaven proclaims, the faithful are lifted, God knows their names. The apostles stood, though chains were near. They sang in prison, they cast out fear. And in our day, new voices rise. Charlie's faith still testifies. Every silenced word becomes a song, every trial proves where we belong. The Church of Christ cannot be destroyed, for death is swallowed up in joy. From martyrs to saints, their crowns are won, their witness shines like the rising sun. The enemy strikes, but heaven proclaims, the faithful are lifted, God knows their names. Will we bow to fear or stand unashamed? Will we hide the cross or bear his name? This is the hour, the choice we make.
Finding the right words to use for this song. I have you in mind, so it won't take so long. Love is that I find you, but you're here, and so I love you.
You may think, well, I'm not a child anymore. That part of you that was a child still is there on the inside.
We shouldn't be so ashamed to say the things that we like. I think we're embarrassed when we get older to say what we love and what we're passionate about.
You need to learn to forgive, not just somebody who's hurt you, but yourself. She really is there. She's still there. And the kinder you are to her, the more in touch you'll be with the whole of you, which is that child you were, to the teenager you were, to the adult you are now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fascinating Womanhood channel. On our channel, we talk about everything that has to do with developing femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships. I'm Sherry Lynn, and I'm here with my mom, Dixie Andelin Forsyth. Hi.
Hi.
We're talking about getting in touch with your inner child. What do we mean by that? What does that mean?
You know, all of us are grown-ups, but we weren't always grown-ups. And there's a part of us that we have experiences as a child with our child's mind that is really naive and doesn't know much. And sometimes those experiences can impact us because we're not really equipped to deal with them with an adult mind, and they stay with us into adulthood so that they affect us as adults. And so there's a part of us, I think, if we really look inwardly, that still has some of those feelings of a small child, although you have an adult mind. And so that's why we talk about the inner child, because it's always kind of there.
And why is this important for women to get in touch with their inner child? Why is that valuable?
Because it helps you understand yourself better, because some of those feelings are still there. Like, for example, when I was really little, I was bitten in the lip by a mother dog who thought I was getting too close to her puppies. And that scared me. I was afraid of dogs for years after that. Now, I long ago forgot why I was afraid of dogs. I just thought, I'm afraid of dogs. So that experience stayed with me until I actually thought, why am I afraid of dogs? And I realized what it was, and I was able to actually with my grown-up mind, understand why I was attacked by the dog and kind of get past it. All of us have our own unique things that we're either afraid of, where we assume something is true and then it turns out to be not true. So that little child, there's a part of all of us that's still kind of a child in there.
What are some of the other benefits? I know you mentioned understanding yourself, which is a really important one. What are some of the other benefits of learning to be in touch with your inner child?
You're able to deal more with the problems that life throws at you, throws at all of us all the time. If you understand who you are, not just as a 25-year-old, or in my case, 74-year-old, and as all of it. And some of that is your childhood. And those are really vulnerable years. So you can learn to understand yourself better. You can be kind to yourself and learn to and forgive yourself of things that happened that you had no idea of and no way to actually deal with.
I don't think I've ever met a woman that didn't have something kind of traumatic or difficult happen in their childhood. So to me, another benefit is definitely healing from that and overcoming it. Kind of like what you were talking about with understanding and kind of overcoming things, but also allowing you to be more authentic to yourself, if that makes sense. I feel like if you are in touch with who you were long ago, even though it may not be who you are today, but be in touch with who you were in that essence of your childhood, I think it will help you to be more authentically you. That makes sense?
Yeah, and you may think, well, I'm not a child anymore. That part of you that was a child still is there on the inside. It's just that you have more mature brain to deal with it. But some of us, most of us, in fact, shut some of those things out because we are an adult. And if we can validate some of those things, the things that we like, for instance, if you love to play Barbies, it's okay to remember you loved playing Barbies. It doesn't mean like you still play Barbies, but you allow yourself to realize that part of you loved to play Barbies and maybe still looks at them and remembers those days.
You know somebody when you meet them that they're in touch with their inner child. You can just tell, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? And I think that those people that are good at it, maybe they're naturally good at it, maybe they work on it, I don't know, but those people are more charming. They're fun to be around. We don't want to be immature. We're not advising you to act like a child, but have you ever heard that saying, more commonly, I think about men, there's a little boy in there, or for a second there, I saw you as a little boy. I don't hear it as much with women. I think women are maybe a little bit more, for some reason, trying to hide those things, but
no, I don't think those things in women are very validated. They're not really validated in men either. And like what you're describing, we call boyishness, just like girlishness in girls and women is charming and attractive. It's the charming things that children do that are always charming. They're not immature, they're just charming.
Yeah. Now, when we were asked to cover this topic, we were specifically asked by one of our followers about pain and trauma in your past, and how, if it's healthy to get in touch with your inner child if your past was very damaged. We're going to use the word damaged. And I think that's a good word for it. Just what do you do? Is it healthy? And we're going to cover that at the end, because we're going to go through today our 5 tips that are for anyone, whether you have a more severely damaged childhood, or maybe you just have a little bit, or maybe you don't have hardly anything at all, but 5 tips that can help you get in touch with your inner child on a regular basis. And then at the end, like I said, we will cover how that looks for someone that's got a little bit more trauma or damage in the past.
The first one is engage in creative activities. Now, that may not seem like that would help, but it allows you to kind of let down and be your authentic self when you're doing something creative. You're less self-conscious, less self-aware. And you can try painting or writing or crafting without worrying. If you're doing those things and you don't have to sell them, then you're just perfectly free to just express yourself. And that's what children do. And they totally get absorbed in those works, and it helps you to feel good about yourself. It really does.
Yeah, creativity is very associated with children and your childhood. Whether you did a lot of it or not, you more than likely in school, preschool, when you're really young, you more than likely engaged in a lot of creative activities. And now I think it's even more so with our kids. They're doing a lot of creative play and learning how to solve problems through creativity. I think creativity is such a positive thing for you to do. Even if you're not a creative person, even if you're not crafty, you can still be creative and find something that works for you.
You can be creative in the way you put your outfits together, the way you do your hair, your makeup. Everyone has a creative side to them. whether they've discovered it or not. Maybe sometimes you've been so hurt that it's all repressed and you haven't really discovered it, but we all have something that's creative. We're designed that way.
And if you really struggle with being creative and it's just not your strength, there's so many wonderful outlets out there on social media. You can look things up, little DIY things that are really easy. There's tutorials. We're so lucky to have this at our fingertips right now. That's something that I do. I go a lot on YouTube and I watch makeup videos. I watch like different
And
videos, little things like that, try to learn how to do new things. And that really helps me.
if you're the type, it's creative to figure out how to do things that I don't like to do, like fix a sink. I mean, you can, if you need to financially, you don't want to hire somebody, you can look online, like you say, DIY and YouTube videos and fix something and then feel that same feeling of gratification that you did something positive. It is a creative thing to figure things out. The second one is capturing memories, which is, and a lot of us are really good at that. Start journaling about your childhood memories and try to go back to the happiest times you were as a child, the way you felt, if you were able to feel free and actually play instead of a lot of us don't really play anymore. And I don't mean play like with dolls, but there's a letting down play where you just relax and enjoy whatever it is you're doing, whether it's a picnic or whatever it is. And journaling about those things is also very helpful and very positive.
I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like journaling. They're worried about the privacy of it. Someone's going to find it. So what is your advice for that? I've always journaled, but I stopped as an adult. So I actually have the flip side of this where I flip through my journals from time to time when I was a kid if I'm kind of feeling low or something, and I'll remember all those details that I wrote down that I don't remember anymore. And that kind of helps me feel more in touch with my inner child. But what about those that aren't comfortable with journaling and never have?
You could always decide you're not journaling about things that you would never want anyone to read. Like you're really mad at so-and-so, and you may think someday I may not be mad at them. So I don't really just say, I really felt bad today. You can write it in a way that still think, how would I feel if my grandchildren were reading this? Mm-hmm. And you're long gone, or great grandchildren, and you're long gone. And I do that sometimes. I'm really careful not to do a lot of venting in my journals because I don't want to hurt anybody. Right. And it isn't always necessary to vent in journals.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just finding a way to write things down that are more feelings based rather than
and facts.
Yeah,
right.
Like capturing situations that happen with other people that you are kind of worried about writing about. Well, the other valuable thing about journaling, I'm sure a lot of you know this if you journal, but it's a way to see how you've grown and progressed as a human being. I don't know about you, but I started journaling when I was only 8 years old. And I found that journal the other day when we were preparing for this video and I was writing it. And there were so many cringy things that I down that I was reading, but I still really value having that book because it helped me. I have kids and it helped me to kind of see the world a little bit through their eyes just for a second. And I'm saying to myself, wow, I've really changed. I've been through so much. And I think that's a positive thing that you can do for yourself.
Decorate with memories. I really like this one. We wrote down, do you have any photos of a happy moment from your childhood? How about frame them and keep one or two around? Some happy thing, a graduation, a wedding, first day of school, all those kinds of things. Or mom bringing home a new baby. You can decorate your house so that it prompts you to remember those positive things you have. When you look at the picture, you have a positive feeling.
I just have one in my house of me as a kid. I'll share it for reference as an example. I'm going to pop that on the screen. We're all being goofy. And I think it's almost like someone took the picture and said, make a silly face. I think. I don't know who took the picture, but it's the three of us kind of being goofy in dress clothes. I think they're like Sunday clothes. And it just, I don't have all 100% happy memories of my childhood. I don't know hardly anyone that has a perfect childhood, but that moment in time is really important for me to have. I have it in my bedroom and I look at it every day because it reminds me of playing with my sisters and having so much fun playing with them and how much I loved laughing with them. And I look at that every day and it really helps me start my day, to be honest with you. I know it's so small because it's just a silly little picture, but it really means a lot to me, that picture. And it does really take me to a place that says, I was innocent and I had those fun times, and it's a great reminder.
And it also reminds you to be kind to that little child that you were, that still there's a part of you in there.
I mean, some of it, this bleeds into like the damaged childhood stuff, and we can get to that later. But I do think that having some sort of picture, if you have any, of yourself young, that you like. It has to be something that you enjoy looking at. It doesn't have to be out in the open for everyone to see, but just having it displayed somewhere. Or maybe you are comfortable and you have a ton of pictures. That's great. But trying to have something, I think it really helps you. It just helps set the tone of your day.
Okay.
Number 4 is explore the joyful outdoors. Why is that important to be outside?
Well, actually, being outdoors has a lot of positive vibes to it. That's why we said the joyful outdoors. When you think of your childhood, a lot of us remember walks, going on camping trips, going to the beach or mountains or anywhere. And those being outside and enjoying the beauties of nature is a very positive thing. And it can help you inspiring your adventurous spirit, which is also childlike.
Yeah, I think when I think of any memory in my childhood, the majority of the happy ones I was outside. And not all of them, but a lot of the happy ones I was outside, going to parks, things like that. And so the outside is essentially taking you back. And you may not love being outside. I know people that don't really love the outdoors, but it doesn't mean you have to go hiking, or it doesn't mean you have to go to a park if you don't want to go to a park.
The other thing is too, is the outdoors, other than the man-made things, doesn't change. So that outdoors, the trees, the hills, the grass, all flowers, all those things have not the exact same ones, but those things don't change over time. Car models change, house styles change, people dress differently, look differently, but outside, the hills, the trees, the bushes, they all look like they did hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Well,
Something,
the smells.
the smell.
If you've moved, maybe it might be a little bit different, but I still, I don't live in the same state that I grew up in, but I still smell some of the things. I have that smell come to me, and I'm immediately taken back to being a child and like being outside in the grass and like doing all these things. And it takes you back. And if you can allow yourself to experience those positive memories, I think it's a really, really great thing that you can do for yourself.
The next one is number 5, open your heart to the young at heart. So whether you have kids or not, playing with, talking to, or dealing with children or young ones, I remind you of the innocence of children and the innocence that you also had, the simple and joyful way that children look at things.
Yeah, I think interacting with kids, whether you have them or not, I know that some of us have kids and we want the opposite. We want we want to have more adult time. But I think it's not necessarily about having kids or not. It's about engaging with kids, like quality engagement. So you see a kid in the store trying on shoes and you say, "Ooh, I like your shoes." It's as simple as that. Just engaging with kids and noticing them, understanding them, like you said, like how do they see these things? Oh, I kind of love the way that they see the world. They see the world so differently, and you lose it when you get older. You don't see
Like
the world that way anymore.
Your little girl, I mean, I never had this perspective, but she has some unique perspectives. Like well, I think one of the last times we were up there, she kind of thinks that boys or men who have really short hair are bald. She says
the buzz cut is just no hair.
bald. She says she said that her brother had 2 bald kids in a class. I said bald, and Sherry said no. She just means
Just have a fade. So yeah, she said to me the other day, this really like had me pondering a lot of thoughts. She said that she had an argument with her brain about what she wanted to do for the day and what she wanted to wear. And she said, my brain usually wins, but today I won. I was like, I really, but those are the kind of things where, I could as a parent just be like, oh, just pick something out to wear. Like not really notice like, wow, she's really connecting the dots of how your mind works. And your mind does kind of do that back and forth. And that to me, like, and I talked to her about it and we got into a conversation with her about it. And I think that's what we're talking about. It's like these kind of like looking at kids through their humorous eyes and trying to see the world kind of in like with an essence of how they see the world. Kids can teach us a lot. I mean, my goodness, I know since I became a parent, I feel like I'm a completely different person. And mostly in a good way, because they teach you so much. They teach you so much about yourself. They teach you so much about how they see life and like the importance of life. So really engage. I think this one is really, really important. We put it last probably for that reason, because we wanted to talk about it more.
Well, I remember, I mean, I'd never ever thought of this, I don't think, even as a child, but when you recently got new shingles for your roof, she couldn't understand why you picked a boring color instead of something pretty like a rainbow color, sparkles or something. I thought, whoever thinks about what, those kinds of things,
She's like, why'd you pick black for your roof? You could have gotten a rainbow or something.
She's young enough, she doesn't realize that would not work.
Like, I don't think it comes in rainbow. And she's like, can we paint it rainbow? I was like, "Hmm." But that's more of like an innocent kind of silly way of looking at things. But in a way, it brightened my day when she said that because I thought, we shouldn't be so ashamed to say the things that we like. I think we're embarrassed when we get older to say what we love or what we're passionate about. And so to me, that was what I took away from that specific thing. I have a book of things that she says. Those were just a couple of the things that
I still secretly wish I could wear a big hoop skirt like they wore in the Civil War days. I
would want to do that.
Well, just for I think it would feel so feminine to wear something like that, to be dressed like that. But I never, and wanting to be a ballerina when I was little, I still remember what that felt like.
There are days where I just wish so bad I could wear a really extravagant, beautiful hat because I haven't washed my hair. And I'm like, oh, in the old days, they just wore these really pretty, or like the royals will wear those really pretty hats. And I'm like, oh, I can't get away with wearing that. But kids don't think that way. They're just like, I'm going to wear it.
I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that being around kids and really engaging with them and understanding them allows you to kind of take a trip into their world, which is great. Okay, so now we've talked about the 5 tips. What about the ladies out there that have really damaged childhoods? How can they take these tips and it's a little different how they approach these tips?
Well, yeah, like with the journaling, if you haven't dealt with some of the painful things in your past, it may be difficult. In an extreme case, Bob had a patient once years ago who had been really traumatized in her childhood and all the way through. And so she blocked it out. She could not remember it. She had blocked it out for so long. It took several years for her to actually get in touch with it. And when she did, and she started remembering what happened to her, he said she cried so hard she fell off the chair. Journaling about those things may be next to impossible or really painful, especially if you haven't dealt with it before. And if it's really troubling, you may want to get some help.
I think what you just said is really valuable about how she was with him when she broke down. That's really important. I think, I'm not an expert, but from what I've read and researched, if you have that bad, it sounds like she had really extreme trauma. You want to make sure that you're with a professional, which she was with him. You want to make sure you're with a professional when you're trying to deal with all that, because it could be dangerous for you to just start journaling about all these things and maybe some things start coming back to you and you have a breakdown. It could be really detrimental to your health. So
it took her several years to even remember it. So I don't think she could have remembered it without professional help because she had blocked it so hard. But it was affecting her present day. See, that's the point of her getting in touch with it. It affected how she dealt with her son that she had, as she dealt with others. Her self-esteem was all tied up in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was important for her to get in touch with it. So then she could take her adult mind that she had then and make some sense out of it. Something she could actually
with her brain.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you heal and what you've gone through. The woman that asked us about the trauma part, I don't know what she went through, but she said it was affecting her every day. And she felt like she could not get in touch with her inner child. She felt like she was very, very serious in general as a woman, and she wanted to loosen up a little bit. And I think that's where my mind just went to, you haven't healed from something. Yeah, you're going to continue to be this more serious kind of person if you don't heal from that. And I don't know what the answer is. It just depends on what it was. Yeah, and how severe it was.
Okay, so another thing is that for the damaged childhood, you need to learn to forgive, not just somebody who's hurt you, but yourself. I know a woman who hates the child that she was because she allowed herself, quote, she didn't really have the power herself to be hurt or to believe things that weren't true. And so she hates that child that she was. And that's really sad because it keeps her from really accepting herself. Because that little girl that she was didn't really do anything wrong. She couldn't have been an adult at that time. She couldn't have made adult choices. She was 4 or 5 years old. She couldn't have. But so forgiving yourself and those who have hurt you. And by forgive, we don't mean that you say it's fine or it's okay. It means you don't continue to wish ill on them. You let it go and just not because that poison that's developed inside you will kill you, not them.
Yeah, and this is really difficult. This is a lifelong journey of forgiveness, especially when it comes to forgiving yourself or something that happened in the past that's really traumatic. And this is where I love that tip about the picture of you as a child in your home, because it's almost like you can have those moments and looking at it and repeat it every day. Like, I need to forgive this time, or I need to forgive that time. And that maybe that doesn't work for you, but I know that has worked for me for the things that happened to me in my childhood that were difficult. Looking at pictures and saying, like, I didn't do anything. I didn't cause any of these things that
Yeah.
happened to me.
Children often blame themselves for their parents' breakup. You know, you can see as an adult person, children don't have that much power. They wouldn't. They're not. They may even been told, "This is because of you, because you were born. That messed up our relationship." And as a child, you don't have any way to deal with it other than believe it,
Mhm.
because you take it so literally, and you don't have any experience to be able to say, "Wait a minute, I didn't cause this. I had nothing to do with this."
Yeah, this goes really deep. Like all of these things that we're talking about, it's hard because we're just talking about this in a short video. These are really deep
Yeah.
conversations and topics that you need to address if this is something that you're trying to get better at. And like we mentioned earlier, maybe it is professional help, maybe it's just you finding a way to heal. But if you don't find a way to heal and you don't have that forgiveness, it's going to be really difficult. You will continue to be a more serious person and rigid and maybe wound a little bit tight. And so I hope that anyone out there watching this, if you haven't started any of that kind of healing, knowing that it can be so freeing and it can be such a huge light in your life to be able to combat all these things.
Children take things so personally. It's the way they are. And so if somebody tells you, the reason this happened is because of you, and you deeply accept it, it's sometimes hard to get in touch with that and realize that doesn't make any sense. I could not, didn't have that power. I can't do that, and be able to let it go and say, I didn't do it. I did, and give yourself allowance to have been a child and not known hardly anything.
Yeah, and remind yourself too that you are not alone. There are so many women out there. Like we said in the beginning, I don't think I know any woman that had a perfect childhood. I know a lot of women that had very damaged childhoods. So chances are there's a lot more of us than you might realize. And we're not talking about it. We don't want to talk about it. So you're not alone. And chances are most of the women around you went through something similar. And confide in your friends or your family if you feel like you can and you have that, because bottling it up is kind of the most tragic thing.
And sometimes a lot of those bottles, the adult person doesn't even know there is a bottle.
Right.
They're not in touch with it. It's
Most
just been.
of us are unaware that we have it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And then the last one is accepting yourself, who you are today.
That's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's really hard because we tend to be hard on ourselves and think that if we have a virtual whip in our back, then we'll be better. And if we don't, we'll just be a slob. And that neither one, they're too extreme. The kinder you are to her, the more in touch you'll be with the whole of you, which is that child you were, to the teenager you were, to the adult you are now.
Such a serious video. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to end on that note.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Okay, well, that's our list for you today. Do you have any questions for us? Did we miss anything? We would love to hear from you down below. And if you ever want to have a chat with Dixie live and ask her questions live, like a lot of the ladies, that's why we're doing this video today, because of our live chat audience, you can join our channel. And we're live every Thursday. Sometimes we do a second live on the weekend. So if you hover over the join button on our channel, you can click that button and it will take you to the different membership options that we have on our channel, so that you can have a chance to not only talk with Dixie live on YouTube, but you can also access her master classes about femininity, which are so inspiring and so amazing and filmed professionally. You have to check those out as well. And then attached to this video, you will find links to all of our books, including my children's book that recently just came out a little bit ago. For those of you that are watching and you want to get in touch with your inner child, read Grezzy the Girly Girl, my book. It's humorous, it's not serious.
And Grezzy the Girly Girl was meant to be a series of books.
Yes.
And so there will be more Grezzy the Girly Girl books, like adventures of hers.
Yeah, and it's not just for kids. I wrote it with adults in mind too. So you can check that out. And then you can also check out Dixie's book, Fascinating Womanhood for the Timeless Woman. One of our best-selling books. You'll want to check that one out to learn more about femininity as well. And we are here
Yeah, with the work.
consistently on YouTube. So if you have other topics you'd like us to address or questions, let us know. We're on a lot of different social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Be sure to check out all those forums down below if you want to connect more with us. Hit a like on the video and subscribe to our channel so you not only know when we have new videos come out, but we also know that you're watching.
Yep.
And we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
So he now turned to Eastern Europe. For Britain, there was now a chance to rebuild with a view one day to taking the fight to the enemy. But to do that, Churchill would need help. Britain may...
Today's craft was Jonah and the whale. Yesterday.
Christ laid his life, the ultimate sign. eternal divine. He showed us the way, the cross to embrace, to live as his own, unashamed by his grace. In a culture of death, we choose to speak life with faith unshaken. With courage we rise. The enemy trembles when truth resounds. For what God has anointed, he has crowned. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. I see it in Erica, I saw it in him. A faith unbroken, light that won't dim. Living examples of truth proclaimed. The legacy burns in Jesus' name. This is the moment, hell's gates shake like Christ's own blood for our soul's sake. Death defeated, our path is clear. God's kingdom advances, his reign is near. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. Husbands and wives in covenant stand. Children of promise held in his hand. Turning points fire, a torch reborn. In Christ's own power, new saints are born. God endowed, God crowned. Every faithful life is heaven bound. His glory shines, his truth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. They told me I was outdated, just a shadow of the past. Said long skirts and shawls don't shine, they'll never last. But I don't dress for fashion shows or this world's fleeting.